All right. Leading off, all the details of Ippei Mizuhara came out this week and what he's sort of facing, the details of the gambling and all of that stuff. So we have, I'll just read kind of the, the stats right off the top. The stats, if that's what you want to call them. I don't know what else you would call them. The details, I guess. $16 million is what they figure that he has stolen. About 19,000 bets. That's an average of 25 a day, ranged from $10 to $160,000 per bet. So they said the average bet was 12,800. He had winning bets of 142 million with a total of losing bets of 182 million. So a net balance of negative 40 million, $40.6 million. So he's officially charged with bank fraud, saying that he was, forging the wire transfers with Ohtani's name on it. According to CNN, Ohtani's phone came back clean with any knowledge of Ippei's betting, aka Ohtani had a burner phone. Could face up to 30 years in prison. Now, I'm reading this article and I'm thinking, maybe Ohtani didn't know any of this was going on. Maybe he just really was naive. And then I read this next part. This happened over a 2-year span. And I'm like, okay, hold the phone. You can't tell me that Ohtani didn't know that something was going on in a 2-year span. So what are your thoughts on this, fellas?
Yeah, I mean, I from when we talked about it a couple weeks ago, I don't have much of a different opinion. I mean, I don't think he was placing the bet. I mean, I think we were joking around about that before, but like in all honesty, like I was never like sitting there being like, I think Shohei's the one placing bets and Ippei is taking the fall for Shohei's gambling problem. But I still don't believe and won't believe that he didn't know anything about it. I mean, this is your best friend.
Right.
Like, this is you spend every day with him during the season, in the off season, every day. I mean, I don't spend every day with you guys. And like, you guys certainly know when I'm on a cold streak betting. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
right.
It's, I don't know. I refuse to believe that this is happening for 2 years. And this guy is, 40.6 in the hole when it's all said and done, something like that. Like, there's no way Shohei doesn't know, because Ippei's not making $40 million a year.
No.
Like, where is he possibly getting this money from? If it's not Shohei, if it's from another third party, you can't tell me that Shohei doesn't know that his friend is like in deep with like a loan shark. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there is no way in my brain, there's no way that this shakes out and he doesn't know.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue, and I agree with everything you just said, Sean. Somebody that's in that kind of a hole, that's living that kind of lifestyle, 25 bets a day, that's a lot of time spent on placing bets. I mean, unless you are the parlay professor, Sean Bogue, that is a full-time job. Like, that's a full-time job to sit there and place that many bets. But what I find interesting, and I think it was Ken Rosenthal came out today and said, basically, Shohei wouldn't be the first athlete that's been taken advantage of by a friend. And, he mismanaged it and didn't really know. And I think the baseball world is prepared to just accept the fact that Ohtani was asleep at the wheel and let his friend take him for a ride. The story doesn't end there. And I feel like everybody's just trying to like whitewash this thing and move on as fast as they can, because there's a real problem here. $40 million between friends is not like a small amount. He had to have known, and everybody just wants to pretend like he didn't so we can move on and protect his image and keep him playing baseball, which I think is wrong on so many levels, because there's no way he didn't know. There's no way the movement of all that money was unclear, because this wasn't $4.5 million like we were first led to believe. It's like $40 million. This is not a little thing. between friends. This is huge. And
Well, saying the
had to-
official, they're saying the official stolen amount, Nick, was what, 19, right? Just a little under 20 million.
Yeah, 16.
Oh, 16. Okay, 16.
Yeah, so it's
That,
not 4 million.
that's what he's charged with. So that's probably what
Correct,
they can.
right.
That's what they can.
That's what they can prove.
trace. You're right.
Yeah, that's what they can prove.
Right.
Right.
But so I mean, $16 million over a span of a couple of years from a good friend of yours. There's absolutely no reason not to know that. None. And I'm not buying this clean story of he just got taken for a ride by a friend.
Right, and it's not like he has the 700 million in his account yet.
Right.
Well, that we know of. I mean, he could with endorsements and stuff, but like that's money you notice that's leaving your account. That's that.
Doug, 10K, sure. 16 million, that's a bit different.
But all joking aside, though, 16 million is so much money. That's just it's an incredible amount of money.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And again, that's what they can prove. That's what they've been able to say. We can prove that Ippei was pretending to be somebody else, and we can prove that this amount of money was stolen through bank fraud. That's what they can prove.
Right.
I certainly don't think that that's all that there was. I just think that that's all that they can prove.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
1,000%.
So
If Ippei knew that account was open, because I mean, you read all the details, and you know that account was, the financial advisors were told it was private and to leave it alone. His accountants didn't even have access to it. Nobody knew what was in it. It was where Ohtani's paychecks went. There's no way all those people had no idea what was coming in and out of that account. If they're filing the guy's taxes or managing his money, and that's where it all goes, or most of it goes, that's a problem. But now, I actually feel bad for Shohei Ohtani, because now on that new Dodgers contract, it's going to take him 8 years to make that money back. I mean, he can't afford to go lose $16 million after that contract he just signed. He's going to be eating ramen, sleeping on couches.
I mean, there's some great ramen bowls out there, but that's beside the point. Yeah, I mean,
it's
and
crazy.
it did come back saying that there was no baseball bets placed.
But how the hell do you know? Like, how did they really track all that money? There's no way.
I mean,
way.
Yeah, I don't know.
all right, so before we all start a GoFundMe for Shohei, he made 65 million in endorsements
Yeah, he's fine.
Right.
the last 2 years. So
He makes more money outside of baseball than he ever made on the
Right.
field. But
Yeah. So, I mean, either way, it's just a crazy scenario. I'm sure more details are going to trickle in as soon as.
Doug, as someone living in Japan that eats ramen regularly, he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Doug.
I think as more details, kind of leak out when the trial starts, I think I saw May, or that's the next court appearance, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the trial or not, but more details will come out as they dive deep into this thing. So, I mean, we'll kind of keep an eye on it, but
So
like you said, it sounds like they're just trying to wash Ohtani completely, so you can just go. About
I
his
understand Rosenthal's point that athletes have been taken advantage of in the past by people close to them and all that. Like there's all kinds of stories of that out there, but not to the tune of $16 million. Like
No.
we've seen guys that have lost some money to some friends, or made loans they never got paid back on. Like that stuff happens, but this is $16 million in gambling theft. Like this has got to be the worst instance of this ever, which goes back to what we talked about before, which was if Shohei wasn't in on it, then he must be like the most out of the loop in his own life kind of person to have no idea that was going on. Like is he just like going through life being Shohei Ohtani, ignoring everything around him? I mean, maybe he is, but I can't imagine for a second he had no idea that was happening.
Yeah. So.
And I like Sean's idea. Somebody's going to say something. Somebody that has reason to say something is going to say something.
eventually,
It has to come out.